because it's just such a focus on these mage heroes and these supports.
Yeah, definitely. I was going through the options and there were just tons. There were almost all the weapon power laners are left, unless you count Weapon Grace and Idris, obviously.
Yeah. Weapon Grace.
Idris is CP only. He doesn't count as a weapon laner.
Well,
I think SEA disagrees with me on that one, but we're just going to have to agree to disagree on what is better. Obviously, Petal's still an option. I don't think it would be smart against Batiste, but maybe there was a little bit of Petal play, but they're going to go for the all dive. They're going to go Black Feather, and Batiste is really good against this. It is a very similar comp, almost mirror comps, except for Adagio as opposed to Batiste. And so Glaive could work, but I think that it would be much more smart to go for someone like a Vox who can just run away, and they are going to pick the Glaive. I think that's really risky. It does work well with Batiste, but it's quite hard to play. Obviously, Shingy played it well against Idris Blackfeather, but I think this will be a weapon Idris this time.
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask you there. Even though it's quite a similar comp to what we saw Elite 8 play last time, this time Infamous picking up the Idris and Blackfeather and just swapping out that Lyra for Catherine instead. Both teams taking a fair few risks for themselves. And we're going to see Elite 8 going in, and this is the thing that we said with Grace pickups. They usually like to be quite aggressive early game.
Yeah, Grace is extremely powerful early game. You've got a lot of damage. If you go a Weapon Blade as well, that becomes pretty hard to contend with. And as a Grace, you're going to almost always get away. So you have that movement speed. Tezzerboy wants to steal this tree away. Not able to get it, but he'll probably just try and get a stack on Anime Save Me, who could be in a bit of trouble. This is a good rotation from Infamous Legion. They saw that Elite 8 started the Elder Tree and they're going to the backs, but they are not going to find anything except a healing Treant. So that's not a great rotation, but this could be a fight.
And there's going to be an engagement as they go in. There's going to be Ordained catching out Spaghetti, however, and they're going to be able to pick up the first blood. And, I thought I was mistaken, but Anime Save Me picks up the kill onto Chiggy, and then onto Idris, and then Chiggy gets taken down. Second, 2 early kills going over to the side of Elite 8, and we talked about that early aggression. I think Infamous were wanting to play the aggressors in this situation, but you've got to respect the Glaive and the Gwen pickup, as well as we saw Ordained play a big part in the CC chain there.
Yeah, it really was. That's the reason why Infamous decided to fight at level 2 and not level 1. I'm not quite sure. Obviously, Blackfeather's stronger at level 2, so is Idris, but you give over 3 forms of CC to Elite 8 at level 2. And so going to their backs, after you saw the backs are gone, trying to fight was just a really odd and very risky decision, because you've obviously not got a reflex block 1.5 minutes into the game. You're going to be hit by all 3 forms of CC. And I am wrong about 1.5 minutes, but 2 minutes in, Spaghetti has got a reflex block. So that is a... I've always told people that they should prioritise reflex block a bit earlier than they do. I don't think I can say that to Spaghetti in this game.
Well, some pro strats coming out there, and yeah, maybe not in that first fight, but Spaghetti definitely...
But now he will, yeah.
For up-and-coming fights. I'm surprised that if Spaghetti wanted to go for this CP interest, but we'll have to hold on to that for just a second as we see another fight breaking out, which might go in favor of Infamous this time. We'll have to see, as a lot of damage is being traded over. Tezzerboy going very low, uses for Stormguard to get out there, but no kills going over this time. And yeah, my thoughts on if Spaghetti wanted to go for the CP interest was, why didn't Spaghetti start building more crystal bits early? Because CP, it's so important to get those items and get that damage early on the table. Do you think that is smart they went for this reflex so early on?
I think if he'd have used it in that team fight that just happened, then sure, that's a fine decision to help you to get away. But the fact that he didn't use it, Tezzerboy is going to fall to the after. Healing Flask OP, not quite able to keep him alive. But I think the fact that he didn't use it before he then next shopped meant that he could have just got a bit of crystal power, dealt more damage, and now picked up a block ready for about 4 minutes in. But it's not the worst idea, because up against Triple CC, it's kind of never too early to build a block, because they have at level 2 got 3 stuns, so you just need to be careful of that, and a little bit of turret poke, but not going to be too much.
Jaeger's hitting Spaghetti back under the turret, dealing a fair bit of damage in return as well, and does get a lot of broken heart stacks on them, but Anime Sabi going in big with the Holy Nova, gets the knock up. Jaeger's gonna finish off for the kill, and that's 4 kills already 4 minutes in, going over to the side of Elite 8. A very different game this time, and you can see Elite 8 much more comfortable in the draft they have chosen for themselves.
Yeah, definitely very aggressive, and Spaghetti, he's built the earliest reflex block but hasn't used it yet, and he's not like he's been out of options. He got hit by the afterburn, he got hit by the Ordained in the first fight. He's just deciding that he's saving that block for something very important, but it's just not being used at all. And he's actually having a bit of trouble farming early on. Now it's catching up to about 10 a minute, and it looks like Elite 8 wants to go for another fight.
Yeah, there's going to be more Ordained to keep Chingy in the range of that afterburn as they go in with the engagement. It looks like they're not going to be able to find any kills this time, though, but you can see very good synergy there between the CC coming out from Elite 8 and that initial Ordained just kept Chingy with the decision. Does he rose offensive out of it, or does he, stand in there and take it? And by standing there, Jaeger's got close enough to land the afterburn. If Anime Sabi had landed the Holy Nova, they may have been able to pick up a kill.
Yeah, that really was a tough position for Shingy to be in. You don't want to just waste ult charges every time Batista ordains you, because then you'd be out of ult charges and still have ordains ready. Spaghetti wants to go home to get divergent paths. Elite 8 left him because they're pushing the wave very aggressively, and it could be a bit of damage onto this turret.
Yes, they are looking for some damage. There's going to be the afterburn to keep Tezza Boy away, but Anime Sabi has not turned away just yet. To knock up Tezza Boy, and look at the damage going down onto Tezza Boy as they keep them trapped once again in that Ordained. It's kind of a situation you have to fight or die, because there's no way out of that unless you're Black Feather using one of those rose offensives, or if you're Spaghetti with the early reflex. However, right now it actually has been used early on, and it looks like Tezza Boy more than likely going to go for the second item into a Crucible after building that fountain already.
Yeah, most likely. I think it's very important to have at least a reflex block for Tezza Boy himself, so that if a situation like that arises again, he's caught out in an Ordained, he can just block and walk out without taking too much damage. It's interesting that we've seen Shatterglass first Spaghetti. I was expecting a Frostburn just to slow the glaive, help him deal the damage, but maybe because Spaghetti is behind on CS, the team is behind in gold, he's decided to go as much damage as possible to try and win a team fight.
Yep, and right now, although there's overall behind in CS, you can see a fair disparity between Official Hein and Chingy, as Official Hein sitting at 42 over to the 34, and then Spaghetti at 60 and Jaeger's at 71, so they're a fair bit behind. And right now with that gold payout going over to the side of Elite 8, who's now 18.5k over to 14.2, I think, yes, in terms of gold and the way the game is flowing so far, it's going to be tough for them. But I think if Infamous can fight this out towards the late game and not fall off too much, you're right, they might be able to pull it back here, and that's why going for these offensive items early might just pay out. It's a bit riskier, but it's probably the strat that they have to do in this situation.
Yeah, this is almost identical to the previous game where we've got a Beatrice who's behind and needs to just wait till late game and try and turn it around. But now we've got whether Elite 8 can do the same thing that Infamous did in the last game and keep the snowball rolling with the glaive. Just got to rotate up the lane, try and get a good afterburn. Batista's picked up an infusion, so that's good for Official Hein to start fighting. Jaeger's hasn't quite got one yet, and Tezza Boy only with 6 stacks of Captain of the Guard, only getting an extra 12 armor and 12 shield, which isn't that much really on a Catherine. Even though they're behind, you'd expect in team fights you're going to be getting stacks quite often. Now Infamous trying to defend this turret Elite 8 looking siege.
I think it's quite risky for Tezza Boy to get up in the face of Elite 8 at this stage to get those stacks for the Captain of the Guard. If you want to be... it's whoever you go on, in the enemy team of Elite 8. They've got some sort of CC that if you get caught out by that and your Storm Guard isn't up, you're going to end up taking a lot of damage. But right now we see Infamous actually pushing Elite 8 off of their turret, which is what they need to do here, but not really able to follow through with any kills afterwards. And we're gonna have to see whether they respond to Elite 8 stealing some of their jungle there. Elite 8 just continuing to push their lead slowly and slowly, and I think be very comfortable to go into a fight at this point. You talked about the early infusion that was picked up on Official Hein, and right now Official Hein can sit on the backline for the most part and just ordain anyone that gets close to him and then put the damage down onto them.
Yeah, definitely. I think it is being a bit passive from Elite 8. Whether that's a bad thing to discuss. I think they could go for the gold mine now, and then that forces either a slight gold advantage for them or forces a fight where Spaghetti is just happy to farm as much as possible. He's already got 2 items and a minion can be used. So that does imply either a sentry or a gold mine from Elite 8, and they're going to start the gold mine. This is good. They want to force a fight, and I'm pretty sure that Infamous are going to try and just steal this. They've got a Chakram, they've got an on point, they've got a Storm Guard from Catherine. It's a good chance Idris going to go with the Chakram. It is enough. Easy steal for Idris, and the Elite 8 Official Hein is annoyed.
Yeah, Fashion Shade was used in response, and Elite 8 are annoyed at the damage coming out from them. However, as they push the enemy team of Infamous, and they probably take back more than they lost in that fight. They pick up a sentry on the way and take down Tezaboy and Spaghetti. Chingy, however, able to get out of that one because of the Rosa offensive. So it's not going to be the ace, yet you can see that great game sense coming out from Infamous there to realize that the gold mine was being taken, and even better for them to be able to get it for themselves. I believe it wasn't the full gold payout. I didn't quite catch the number, but I believe it would have been around 300 or so going over to their team. And we now see them, they're seeing about 5k behind 21.9 over to 26.7 on the side of Elite 8. So it's not lost just yet, but once again, you don't really see Infamous in a spot to engage a fight, whereas Elite 8 more than happy to just go right in. And you were talking about perhaps they're playing a bit too passive as well, and it would be a bit better to see Elite 8 try and make more plays happen here, which we might just see as Anime Save Me going in with a Holy Nova. There's going to be more ordained onto Black Feather, however he's able to escape up with barely any health. Elite 8 going to be able to finish off that turret. Official Hein gets jumped on by the Shimmer Strike, however Divine Intervention going to be used onto Hun Jaegers, who got stunned up for just a second by Official Hein, turning around with that ordained, opening up a window for Hun Jaegers to get onto that backline and pick up a kill, but gets traded out for the Black Feather, and now it's going to be Baptiste taking down the Idris and Grace picking up that ace onto the Catherine. They're going to push through for the anchor turret of Infamous, and this is more what we wanted to see coming through from Elite 8, especially being 1 to 10, 12 minutes in.
Yeah, Grace with the ace, with the mace, and the Atlas pole just, it turned the fight around, because Chingy got stuck in an ordained, and you were exactly what we talked about before. You don't know what to do. Do I run or die? And the answer was both. He tried to run, he got after end into the took massive damage, and Shingy fell, but then Spaghetti, building up broken mid stacks, managed to take down Glaive with some basics, but then Anime Saved Me with the Atlas Pulsion on Idris just saved Official Hein's life so easily, and it was just, after that Idris was just useless. He'd used his Chakram, had no ultimate, had no A, he was just standing there waiting for Baptiste to kill him because he couldn't basic attack. And yeah, I know Save Me really the MVP, and they want another goal because why not? Elite 8 know that Infamous is nowhere near trying to steal this, and it's just a little bit more gold. They're probably going to go for a crystal sentry now.
Yep, I mean, why not? Indeed, they're going to do so, taking that gold, just further pushing that lead. Now sitting at 33.7 to 26.3k on the side of Infamous, and right now, really, they just need to look for someone to step out plays on the side of Infamous Legion, and that is going to be up to Anime Save Me to find. Doesn't use the Holy Nova early, being very patient on holding back on that one and waiting for the right opportunity.
They definitely don't want to go too aggressive. Elite 8 obviously want to rotate down to this sentry, because if they do that, then I think that's the least second life, third. And so that's really good for Elite 8. And now Infamous Legion wanted to fight. That was second sentry down.
Yeah, Anime Save Me once again jumping over the benediction, but not following. There's going to be Boy caught out. Wow, the damage coming out by Jaegers. Shay pushing Idris back into the wall is actually going to be enough to kill them. However, Chingy meanwhile jumped onto the Batiste and manages to trade that out. However, you can see that Infamous now on the run are going to be in a bit of trouble here. However, before Boy died, was able to use that Fountain of Renewal. It might be enough to keep Chingy alive here, but Jaegers is on the chase with that Afterburn up in just a second. However, Boots being used by Chingy. It looks like he should be able to escape from here, but Rose Offensive isn't up. Chingy stayed around and gets punished for it. That is not your jungle anymore, especially with no Crystal Sentry in there at the moment. Jaegers just going to find the kill, was thirsting for blood, maybe even more as he rotates up to lane. Finds Spaghetti taking so much damage. Is going to use the Shroud Step to try get away, but Glaive just taking him down instantly as soon as he's out there. And they might even find that ace onto Boy. Chingy is up in 3 seconds. How long can they stay alive? There's the double kill. There's the ace. And Elite 8, they've got the aced up minion wave. They're pushing towards Kraken. There's only Chingy at the base to respond to this one. And I can imagine they're going to be able to take this without any contest, turn around, finish off the last Crystal Sentry, and then it's just looking like there's no real way for Infamous to come back from this one.
Yeah, definitely. It was very interesting. Shingy, I'd probably be quite annoyed if I was Shingy. He managed to stall for long enough so that it wasn't an ace. Then it just went, oh no, you died in the jungle. Okay, let me just go and push this lane up. And then of course the Jaegers just rotating from behind. No chance for Spaghetti to even get close. And as you said, in the first fight, the one that began it, Jaegers just with massive damage. Now he's got his block, he's got 4 damage items. Afterburn's going to come over the wall most likely. But they're not quite in range, so he's just going to wait. And I think Elite 8 just have to not dive too deep, and they should be absolutely fine to finish this game. It's just a bit of hope though.
Yep, and right now they're not going in too aggressive. You can see Anime Save Me just baiting out the Blast Tremor, and this could be the sign for Elite 8 to go in, but it's going to be Infamous who wants to engage, and Jaegers on that backline uses the Afterbird to get over the wall, picks up the kill onto the Idris, and now is going to get taken down by that Black Feather, who's doing that best fight, but it's not going to be enough as Batiste still alive, and leaving that Batiste alive until late is also a problem, as we're going to find out now. Boy caught up in the Ordained, and that's going to be the ace to finish it off. They managed to take the turret and the crystal with ease. That's Elite 8 taking the second game. GG, well played, and what a turnaround from the first matchup.
Yeah, Elite 8 able to secure the second game, taking this to 1-1. So we're looking forward to the third round. I think that it's so odd to say that CP Idris has a 0% win rate, 0 out of 3, and the weapon's got 100%, given what every